and welcome to another episode of Amy Hart's Mums Club. In this podcast, I'll be talking about the highs and lows of parenting alongside a gaggle of fabulous guests who are also here to share their experiences. And that's not all. This podcast is for you, so make sure you follow us on all social medias at Amy Hart's Mums Club and send us in your questions. Today, I have a very special guest here, a stalwart of my childhood and probably yours too. She's a mum to two gorgeous children. It's Dani Harmer.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. What a lovely introduction as well.
Let's go all the way back. Let's start at the very beginning.
Okay.
Your mum was a casting agent. So are you from a stagey family?
No, so my mum didn't get into any of that industry until like way after I became an actor. So she fell into it totally because of me. So yeah, sorry, mum. No, I got my first job when I was 6, which is just bananas, and I kind of fell into it by accident, really. I'm gonna blame my grandparents. So I used to put on really obnoxious shows in their living room, and I think one day they just got so bored of watching them, they were like, I'm just going to send her to a drama class, because I think they were just done with watching them, honestly. And you know, when they're like forced to like nod and clap along. And
we were the same. So on my granny and granddad's side, my dad's side, there's 6 of us, and my granny and granddad were very like theatrical. So we used to put on shows and stuff, but obviously back then you didn't really have like CD players that were movable. You had like the big hi-fi systems.
Yes.
So couldn't have any music, so they were always straight plays. My mum always says that when my like younger cousins, like 15 years later, were putting on shows and there was like music, everything was musical, mum was like, at least this has got songs in it. Yours were always just like straight plays. It was a lot.
Yeah. I feel like my poor sister was made to be like the band, the props,
Yeah.
like my stage crew. Like, I feel so bad for her. But so I totally blame my grandparents. So they sent me off to like a little part-time drama group. And from there I got an audition to be in a stage show, landed the part, and it was my first ever audition, and everything just kind of snowballed from there. But before that, no one in my family had been involved in the industry at all. I mean, my dad was a mechanic, my mum worked as a legal executive. Like, no one had touched anything in the industry at all. So yeah, I am completely to blame. My mum didn't even enter the industry until like a good sort of 10 years later. So all my fault.
All your fault. She caught the bug.
She
Basically.
totally caught the bug. Yeah. So my mum sort of started chaperoning kind of off the back of me, really, because and not even chaperoning me, chaperoning other people's kids. Just because sometimes it was easier to sort of get a chaperone's license and sometimes come along with me. And then she just found that she was actually just really good at it. And she was a great chaperone. So started chaperoning, and then ended up working for a casting agent. And then everything kind of just spiraled for her as well. So yeah.
It's weird that a lot of my friends that chaperones, they don't chaperone their own kids because they're no, you can't, it just blurs the lines. And she's like, and then no, don't do that. You can't do that with other people's children.
Yeah, exactly that. She did chaperone me on Tracy Beaker, bless her, because obviously I was really young, and we filmed it in Cardiff as well. So it was quite nice to have that little bit of home with me.
I was really shocked at the filming in Cardiff. I don't know why. I don't know where I thought the dumping ground was. Obviously, there's no landmarks anywhere, so I don't know why I was shocked. But obviously, I have watched yours and Chelsea's YouTube videos.
Lovely Chelsea.
Dani and Chelsea Padley, who played Louise, did like a little series of YouTube videos where they were just talking about Tracy Beaker. But yeah, I was really shocked that it was in Cardiff. Again, I don't know why, but it was. Was that weird being away from home for that long?
Yeah, it was a little bit, but I guess I was just so used to sort of moving about all over the place, and part of me kind of enjoyed it. It felt like a big sleepover with loads of your mates. And I wasn't one of these kids that ever kind of got homesick, and I think it did kind of help having my mum there as well. And my dad and my sister used to come up at weekends, and it was just so fun getting to explore different places and different cities, and we moved around loads and got to explore loads of Cardiff as well, which was great fun. So yeah, it was kind of like a big adventure, really.
Yeah. Were you in mainstream school or were you in stage school by this point?
Yeah, so I'd already got into stage school by this point, which I absolutely detested. It was not for me at all. I hated every second of it, but it did give me the opportunity to go out and work. So in that aspect, it was great.
Overnight fame. Now, that must have been like I had sort of overnight sort of notoriety in the public eye when I was 26, and I found that hard enough. What was it like doing that when you were like 11?
Yeah, it to be fair, I mean, for you, it must have been so much worse because you had social media. For me, it was pre-social media. So actually, unless you physically saw people in real life, you didn't really get it as much. So for me, it definitely felt overnight because one minute I was just a kid going to school, and then the next minute I was going like bowling with my family and having like every single person coming up to me asking for my autograph, which was just the weirdest thing. Back then, people asked for autographs. They actually asked for you to squiggle on a bit of paper
Yeah.
because no one had phones with cameras. So yeah, and it was just the most weirdest experience I think I've ever had in my life because I was like, what? People actually want my autograph? I'm just a regular human being. And yeah, it felt like the program went just successful straight away. It was really, really strange, but I am so thankful we did not have social media back then. I think it would have been a completely different story. So
Yeah. And I mean, I suppose as well, it's like a double thing because you've got like when someone's on like a soap or something, like the parents will know who they are, and some of the kids will know, but it's mainly like the parents. But I suppose all the kids knew who you were, but then also all the parents as well, because they've got it on in their kitchen while they're cooking dinner and stuff. Like
yeah,
literally everyone knew you. Um,
exactly.
did you feel pressure like going from like a child star to sort of like an adult star? Because it's a tentative process, isn't it? And some people excel, some people really go off the rails. Would you say like having your family around you made sure that you were like one of the good ones?
Oh, for sure. It is the hardest crossover anyone can ever make, especially when you've been so successful. But I have to say, playing Tracy Beaker has made it so much easier because the character grew up with me. So it definitely made that transition so much easier in terms of acting because I could just carry on playing the character. So because she grew up, people could see me grow up. So that definitely helped. And I was so lucky in terms of being able to go off and do some amazing experiences like Strictly and the horror show and all these awesome things that happened to me. And I just pinched myself because I just had the best time ever. But I have just the most amazing supportive family. And if I ever had got too big for my boots, my goodness, they would have told me about it. So yeah, there was none of that, no big-headedness, no ego with me whatsoever. And I definitely think that kind of helps for sure.
So was it hard? Like obviously you were sort of a post child for like children in the care system.
Mhm.
Obviously people think that because people think what they see on TV is true a lot of the time, especially
Yeah.
kids. So, thinking that you're this poster kid, but obviously you've got a lovely mum and dad, you've got your sister,
Mhm.
like quite a stable home life. Was it hard to sort of like show people? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah, kind of being a
and who's
voice
the voice?
a
Yeah.
voice for the care experience community without actually being involved in the community and having that weight on my shoulders. I still feel the pressure now, to be honest with you. And it just goes to show how little representation there is for care experience people because it all rests on this one character, and that is just not right because you cannot represent the whole of the care experience community through one character, and the show can only do so much. And did it get everything right? Absolutely not. It's a kids show. Of course it made light out of some of it where it absolutely shouldn't have, but at the same time it raised really, really good topics, and it made kids aware of the care system where we probably wouldn't have been aware of it. I mean, I certainly don't think I knew much about the care system at all when I first started Tracy Beaker. I certainly didn't know anyone in care, or if I did, they certainly didn't want to talk about it. So, if anything, at least it gave people a kind of reference point. I've met so many wonderful people from the care system now, who absolutely love the show. I've also met loads of people who absolutely hate the show because that's not what they experienced. So we definitely need more representation for care experience people, more care experience writers, because it shouldn't all rest on just one character, and that is so important.
100%. You said about Strictly. What was that?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
with Vincent, like,
Yes.
oh geez.
Oh, I just had the time of my life. The press absolutely hated our series because we got on so well. They had absolutely nothing to write about. Oh, we just had an absolute ball. Just wearing the costumes, and I'd never fake tanned before, so that in itself was a lovely experience. I smelt
Spray
like
tan
so.
night. It's like Thursday or Friday night, isn't it? Spray tan night.
Oh yes, yeah, and you get like triple layered. You smell like soggy biscuits for the
Yeah.
majority of the competition. It was just hilarious, and we got on so well. And yeah, I do it again? Probably not, because I could only dance with Vincent now. That's the only person I will ever dance with. And he just made my experience. He really did. He was just so delightful. I think we laughed more than we danced for sure. And it was just brilliant. I loved it.
Now that you're a mum, are you glad that you did Strictly before you were a mum?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. Did you see my body back then? It was bloody amazing. Oh, I was a wonderful size 6. There's no way you're getting me in them costumes now. I've got some of them hanging up still, and there's you're not even getting my leg
No,
in.
it's great for my leg, yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. I was
I
looking
feel
at
ya.
like the
I
little
feel ya.
looking at the little bra cups that are still in there. I was like, nope, they're not going in there. Definitely not.
A girl that I know, sort of through friends, I thought she was like 26, 27. It turns out she's like 36, 37. And everyone was like, why did you think she was younger? I was like, because she hasn't been she clearly hasn't been through the post 30 weight gain.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
it
that's
happens.
why I thought she was in her 20s.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
But we love it.
We do.
Talking to being a mum, so you've got two gorgeous children. How is mum life for you?
It's a juggling act for sure. I've got quite a big age gap between my two. That was definitely intentional because I think I would have ended up in a straitjacket had I had my two close together. I think Avery Bell, my eldest, she's 9 now, had she was a bit of a like shock to the system. She wasn't planned, so when she came along, she literally turned our life upside down. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna need a minute for her to like settle into our lives before we try for a second. And then my youngest, Rowan, he is 3, and he is just feral. He is bananas. He is a typical second child. You know, when they're like, they are nuts, and he really is. But yeah, he's just wonderful, and he's completed our family just absolutely perfectly.
It's weird, isn't it? When you like I was the same as you. That was my first child. I wasn't planned at all, and now we're trying for a second baby. And it's so weird, isn't it, when you get pregnant and you weren't expecting it, because your whole like when you're trying for a baby, you're like, right, well, if I get pregnant this month, we'll be due then, which
Yeah.
means at this stage they'll be this old and we can do this and we've got this in the diary and that will be a bit tricky and I won't be able to do that and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And when you like don't plan it and you have that pregnancy test and you're like, oh, and now the whole trajectory of my entire life has now changed.
Exactly that. And especially in this industry, I mean, there's no right time, I don't think, to get pregnant anyway when you're self-employed. But it really was like me and Simon hadn't been together that long. And here we are, and we're just suddenly pregnant. And then we're like, oh, okay. So we're staying together then. And so it'll be forever. Is that okay? It's just, and then we're just gonna have a baby.
I mean, literally same. But it's funny, I when I got pregnant with Stanley, I'd signed up to do panto and it was about to be announced.
Yes, I
And, um,
remember we were having this
yeah,
conversation, which is
and
brilliant.
I would have been, I think, 7 months pregnant.
Mm,
And the panto that I'd done panto the year before and loved it. But the panto I was going to do was one of the like really hardcore ones, which is 2 shows a day every day,
yeah.
and then 2 shows on Saturday. Whereas the one that I'd done was like a lot of 1 show days, like two show days a week, and then 1 3 show day. Whereas this one was 2 shows every day for 8 weeks, apart from Saturdays where there was three.
Yeah.
I was very like, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And the producer in the end said to me, Amy, with all due respect, you haven't been pregnant before. I have. I'm telling you that I don't think you should do this. 'Cause I'd already moved. There was the plan that I was going to move from being the princess to the fairy. Um,
Yes.
and then in the end, she made the decision for me and she was like, we'd love to work with you again in the future, but I just think you
Yeah.
know what you're letting yourself in for. So when I then had to cancel, everyone. Well, Dani Harmer's just done panto and she was heavily pregnant.
I'm ever so sorry about the comparison, but I tell you what, pregnant panto is not for the weak. Because when I started, I was about 7 months, and I was playing the fairy, so it's a much easier track than a princess. But at the beginning, I was like, this is doable. This is all right. I'm feeling okay. Achy ankles, achy back, but I can do this. But obviously, you get more and more pregnant as the shows go on. So, I mean, we must have got like midway through, and I got Braxton Hicks halfway through one of the shows. So I was like, I'm giving birth. I am giving birth mid show. Oh my goodness, what on earth am I going to do? Started having a panic attack, thinking that I was going to give birth in the wings. Went up to my understudy, went, I'm so sorry, but I'm giving birth. You're going to have to go on for me. And then she's like going, it's okay. I'm prepared. It's all good. And I was like taking my dress off, passing it over to her. And it was just one of those things where I'm like, right, if you were to ever get pregnant again, maybe rethink this, because then I was being rushed to hospital and it was all this big hoo-ha. It
I
was
think,
just Braxton Hicks,
yeah,
but you know,
I think though, like obviously for me, I'm not an actress. Like I don't know what I am, but I'm not an actress. And I always
yeah,
say, I'm like, if it was because people keep asking me now to do panto, and I'm like, I really, really loved it, but like while standing so little, I'd like to be at home because as well,
of
like
course.
they won't put me in my local panto. So annoying. I'm
How
like,
rude.
I know. I'm
Let
like,
me write a letter. I'm going to write a strongly worded
this
letter.
one that's 10 minutes from my house. Amazing.
Oh,
Um, I always
same.
say like,
Same.
if it was my actual job, then yes, I would. But it's basically a vanity project for me because I
Yeah,
enjoy performing and I quite enjoy people clapping at me. So
yeah.
I can't really justify that. Like if it was my actual job, and
Yeah,
there's no good time to get pregnant when you're self-employed.
no.
And for actors and actresses, like panto is such like a stalwart of your year, isn't it?
Mhm.
It's such
Yeah.
like well, it doesn't matter what happens the rest of the year as long as I've got my panto. That's amazing. So yeah, I mean, I think you're a legend for doing it. Um,
Well, to be fair, I think I've done it every single year since I was 6. So the only year I took off was actually weirdly the year before the pandemic, because I was like, I'm going to give myself a year off. And then the pandemic happened the year after, and I was like, okay, should have probably taken this year off rather than the year before, but never mind. So I've had 2 years off in. Oh my gosh. So this year will be my 30th year doing panto technically, which is just ridiculous. Had I not had such a long career with panto, I probably would never have done it pregnant, to be honest. But I know the schedule. I know that
you
it's,
didn't want to lose your
but it's also it's so in my body. Like I know, and I had been pregnant before. It was my second pregnancy. I'd already done shows pregnant before. When in my first pregnancy, I'd already toured pregnant. I'd already been there. I'd done that. I knew what my body could handle. Had I not had the whole Braxton Hicks situation, then I would have got through that panto absolutely unscathed. But yeah, I think you definitely made the right choice by not doing it, for sure, because it's not for it's not for the faint-hearted.
and I said I can't lay down on the bed and have this huge belly. Like
Yeah, to be fair, playing
I
a
feel like
princess pregnant is a bit.
yeah,
Hang
I
on,
feel like
how did
if
that
I
get
was
in there when you've not met each other?
yeah,
Hang on.
like if I was still like being Jill and Jack and the Beanstalk, I'm sure we could have made the dress work, but
Yeah,
it's the pin down bit
yeah, yeah.
that would have given it all away.
Yeah, I played Dorothy pregnant once, which I also think was a little bit weird, because I was supposed to be like, I don't know, how old is she? Like
14.
13, like
Yeah.
14. So that was a bit weird. Because every time I turned sideways to like walk down the yellow brick road,
Oh,
I was just absolutely ginormous. But we got away with it somehow.
exactly. And I think like I'd love to do it again one day. And it is such a special thing. And then I'm like, oh, I feel like I need to like get that sweet spot where
Yeah.
Stanley's old Tom watch. Um,
Yes, that
so
is the best. But don't ever play Snow White if you've got a kid in the audience. I played Snow White once, and Avery Bell really thought I had actually died. So just putting that out there, she was literally like, "No, mummy, my mummy's dead," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just want to like wake up and be like, no, it's fine. Mummy's just acting. We're all good. I'm gonna wake up soon. The prince is gonna kiss me, and we'll be fine."
love that. Avery Bell, do we think that a career in the performing arts could be for her?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Everyone keeps asking me this. So she's clearly got a little something, something. She's obsessed with being on my TikTok at the moment.
Yes,
She's
I saw.
ev- every day she's like, "Mummy, can we do a video? Can we do a video?" I don't know. She's clearly quite. She's got something, and if she turns around and really wants to do it, obviously I'm going to back her 1,000%. But I'm really trying to explain to her like all the bad things about this industry, and trying to like push her in other directions that are a bit more stable,
Yeah.
especially financially.
Yeah.
We could become an accountant. What
Yeah.
about being a lawyer, a doctor? you
We're
know
gonna play a game now. It's called rejection. Answer
yes,
string. No, you can't have it. That is every day in this industry.
exactly that. I'm going to teach her all the stuff that is totally unglamorous about this industry.
I think it's so funny. I've had a lot of like performers on this podcast who have got children who obviously have the gene and
Yeah.
have the je ne sais quoi. And all of them say like everyone expects me to be like, yeah, do it, and I'm like, no, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah, well, I think everyone knows how tricky it is and how difficult it is, and you don't really want your child to have a difficult life, do you? You want them to just sort
I
of
think
sail through and be merry.
I think a lot of the parents that maybe aren't in the industry just see like the glamorous side and how amazing it is, which it is when it is.
Yeah.
So you guys know like the bit that's not. So
Yeah, and it's just literally sometimes it is day to day where you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And yeah, sometimes it's pretty terrifying when you don't know when you're going to get paid next. And we've got mortgages to pay. I don't really want that for my kids. I would love them just to have a steady income. And as boring as that sounds, sometimes it's really nice to be able to pay your bills. So,
no,
you know,
the little luxuries in life.
right?
But
To be able to eat,
no, it's magical things. On that subject, you have like diversified a little bit as like everyone has, and you've got into directing.
I have. It's something I've always wanted to do. Like, ever since I can remember, I've always been that, like, well, I definitely was that annoying kid that would always stand by the monitor, ask the director 1,000 questions, like trying to take in exactly what they were doing, trying to learn everything. I was asking like the lighting guys all the questions about the lights, and just being really irritating, trying to absorb as much as I could. So yeah, whenever I started doing quite a lot of shadow directing with various different directors over the years, and yeah, then I got the opportunity to go back to the dumping ground, back to my home, and direct an episode on the last series, which was just the most incredible experience I think I've ever had. It was just great, and it felt so right. I was like terrified, but when I was there, I was like, oh no, I'm meant to be here. Like, I thought I was going to have like proper imposter syndrome, where I was like, you don't belong here, you're only getting this because you're Tracy Beaker and that's why they want you here. But I was like, no, I'm meant to be here. This has felt right. Like, I know what I'm doing, and I've got a vision and all of this. And yeah, so I'm just so excited to do more.
Because obviously the first series of Tracy Beaker was directed by Susan Tully, the original Michelle Fowler.
Michelle from EastEnders. I know she came over to my house. My mum got very excited. She got the posh biscuits out. It was very exciting. It was a very exciting day.
So just following in her footsteps from acting to directing.
I know, and she was just such an amazing director to work with. We were so lucky to have her on that first series, especially. And I learned so much from her as well. And she was great, especially with the kids, but especially me, because I did have so many questions, especially about directing. So yeah, I learned a lot from her.
She's like, hey, we've got a scene now. Like, can I answer your questions later?
Yes. Could you actually do what you're supposed to be doing and actually maybe act? That would be great.
Right, thank you. Before you go, I want to talk about you recently talked about how you've been diagnosed with perimenopause.
Yes.
I've got low AMH, so this is going to be me, probably the same age as what you are now. So I'm 33 now, and you're 36.
I am, yeah.
So I think that it will be coming for me quite soon. So what
Yeah.
you felt like at the moment we're in a heat wave, obviously, at night, and I'm up and it's hot. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is the perimenopause. And I'm like,
It's happening. Oh, started.
it's 32 degrees outside. Could it be that? And I've still got my winter duvet on. But I do think about it a lot. So what were your first signs?
Well, it's difficult because with perimenopause, some of the symptoms cross over with so many other things. But my first symptoms were not being able to sleep properly. The hot flushes, they were absolutely horrendous. It was literally like fire, like pure fire is what it felt like. Achy joints, they were really, really bad. Fatigue, and then it was the brain fog, like just being, I was talking to people and forgetting whole words. Completely vanishing out of my head, and as an actor you know that that is not what you want at all. And I remember doing panto at the time and being a fairy. You're on stage a lot all by yourself doing these great big kind of monologues, and just being on stage and just being like, yeah, no idea what I'm saying, so Mr. MD Music Man, you're gonna have to tell me my lines. And it just having to become like this joke because the words would just completely vanish, and that was not normal for me. I was very much an actor who's a bit weird, actually. I would never drop a line. I've never dropped a line. I was almost like a robot. People would take the mickey out of me because I was so on it with my lines. So I knew that something wasn't quite right. And I was almost panicked that I might have Alzheimer's at one point. I was like, it was really, really freaking me out. And it was actually my partner that was sort of like looking at my symptoms and stuff. And he was like, I think you might want to look into perimenopause. And I was like, ah. I was like, how dare you? And I'm like 34. I think I was 34 at the time. I was like, I'm 34. And he was like, I think it can happen at any age. He's like, I'm not trying to tell you that you're old. I'm just saying. And then the more I looked into it, I was like, oh, I think you might be right actually, because like more and more things were starting to happen to me. And I got really lucky. I went and saw a GP who was great. She was a female as well, which sometimes I think that might help. And yeah, she did some blood work on me to try and rule out anything else that it could possibly be. She said, I'm not going to bother doing any hormone tests on you because you've still got your period. So that's probably going to give us, misreadings. And then when all of my blood tests came back clear from any other sinister stuff that could be happening, so things like thyroids and celiacs and things like that, she was happy to put me on HRT and diagnose me with perimenopause. So it was a bit of a shock, but I'm just glad that I wasn't going through something more serious, or I wasn't completely losing the plot and something was actually happening to me.
Mm. How are you finding the HRT? Because I listened to Leslie Garrett, who used to be on Loose Women,
Mhm.
on a podcast the other day, and she's still on it. She's nearly 70 and she's still on it because she's so scared that it's going to change her singing voice if she comes off it.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Um,
Yeah, it's changed my life. It feels like my brain fog's much better. Don't get me wrong, I still forget like the word banana every now and again, but it's definitely got better. Hot sweats are like manageable. It doesn't completely take everything away, but life is definitely more manageable. And yeah, I'm like Leslie. I don't want to ever come off it. I don't even know when you're supposed to come off it, but this is the bad thing. They kind of just like prescribe you and then you're kind of just like left. There's not really any
like
information. You're like, okay, so what now? I'm just left to Google things. Okay.
I feel like all like the medical advice sometimes is still from like 40 years ago when like now we're all living longer and stuff. So it used to probably be like, okay, go on HRT and then like,
And then die.
yes.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're all living longer. It's like, okay, so can I be on HRT for 50 years? Is that okay?
Yeah, like what actually happens. But this is a thing with like, yeah, female healthcare, isn't it? It's just a bit crap,
I
but
think,
hopefully it's getting better.
yeah, I think as well, like I've only got one child, I'm trying to have a second. I would like sort of four. And I
Mhm.
we're so sort of empowered now with our careers and with like living our lives. Like my mum met my dad at 19, got married at 20, had a baby at 22, had a baby at 25, end of.
Mhm.
Um, and when like I look at my 20s, I was like in Vegas, I was in New York, like I was doing Love Island, I was doing Panto, like doing all this stuff. And I feel like the only thing that hasn't like caught up is the thing that we can't make catch up, which is our like natural bodies, and we're like leaving everything so much later, but menopause still comes when the menopause comes.
Exactly.
And I think about a lot. So it's really good that you're speaking out about the perimenopause, because it sort of reminds us all that, like, I think as well, because we
Yeah.
see our mums when we're younger, and like now, I turned 33 last week. I remember when my mum turned 33, because I would have been 11.
Yeah.
I I sort of, I don't look at myself, and I still think that I'm like a teenager.
Yeah.
I see myself as a young adult. Like, I'm not a grown up at all.
Mhm. Yeah.
Literally like married with a child and a house, but I'm not a grown up. I'm a young adult.
I'm totally with you.
And when I look at my mum at 33, I'm like, that's not me. So
Yeah.
we think that we're so far away from
Yeah.
everything. We're not.
Yeah, no, and I think it's so important to have these conversations because I mean my mum had such a rough go at menopause. It was really bad and she didn't get the help that she needed in the slightest, whereas I had a really positive experience. So I think you need to hear both sides. I think there's loads of people that had really negative experiences with their GP, but I had a really positive one. So I like to tell people, please go to the GP because they're not all bad. And you're not wasting their time either. Like that is what they're there for. And also it's not a taboo subject. I don't understand why we don't talk about menopause and periods and all of these things that absolutely happen to every single one of us.
Yeah.
It should just be as normal as having a cup of tea together. It's perfectly natural and we're all going to go through it. So my mum never ever spoke to me about periods, and I think it's so weird. So when I had my first period, I genuinely thought I was dying. So I didn't want that to happen to my daughter. So she is well equipped. She knows exactly what a period is. When it's going to happen, she knows exactly what to do. She's got her period pants in her bag. She is good to go. And I just think it's weird that people don't talk about it. So I mean, I'm a bit of a TMI person anyway, so I will tell everyone everything.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been so
Ah.
nice to chat to you. And where can people find you on social media?
Oh, well, you can find me on TikTok now.
I know,
Woohoo!
you're
Because
a TikToker.
she finally joined after people pressuring me all these years. I'm also on Instagram as well. So, yeah, you can find me
Both
on
just
there.
at Dani Harmer.
At Miss Dani J Harmer, I believe, on Instagram, and just Dani Harmer over on TikTok.
Nice one. Well, thank you so much. And I hope to see you at another West End show soon.
Oh, I'll be there. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for listening today, and thank you so much to Dani. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media platforms at Amy Hart's Mums Club, and I will see you next week with another fabulous guest.